Good morning. When I became a Christ follower, I thought, what is it that you do? And so I knew that reading the Bible was important. And so I would read, if I felt bad, Psalms, if I felt really bad, Job. But for the most part, I was asking the question, where am I? And I got invited to a Bible study, and I thought we were gonna study Ephesians or something, but the Bible study leader laid out a map of the world and did something interesting. He said, Todd, pick a country and pray for it. And so I start to get anxiety because I'd never prayed for the world. And so I said, I'll pray for America. And he said, pick somewhere further away. And I said, Canada. And he said, no, pick somewhere really far away. And I looked down at the middle of the map, and the largest country that I saw was Saudi Arabia. So I began to pray for Saudi Arabia. At the end of the prayer, he said, come back next week and tell me how many Muslims, how many mosques, how many Christians, how many churches are in Saudi Arabia. So I start researching this country. I keep praying for Saudi Arabia. I bought a book on how to reach Muslims. I'm in line at Starbucks, and in front of me is a Muslim. I'm like, you're real? This is crazy. I didn't have a friend that was Muslim. I go on a short-term trip to the Middle East, and all of a sudden, over the next 24 months, something happens. My me-centered, self-absorbed, high-maintenance Christianity began to shift to God's global, eternal, and unfulfilled purpose. Over 24 months, my me-centered, high-maintenance, self-absorbed Christianity began to shift to God's global, eternal, and unfulfilled purpose. If you miss the purpose of God, you miss how to live and how to give and how to raise your kids. If you miss the purpose of God, you miss how to live and give and raise your kids. I had a problem though, because everything in the world was pulling my time and my talent and my treasure away from God's mission. Every day the world was recruiting me to itself. And I'm looking at my time and my talent and my treasures, and I'm just throwing it all in the me bucket. And meanwhile, there's a still small voice. Go ye into every nation. And I'm like, well, that's not me. I'm sure that's not me. I'm different. I have parents who care. I have a personality. I want to get married. I want to raise my kids. I want to coach soccer. I'm not called to missions. And that's what I felt. That was the lie the world was telling me. And so if you had no knowledge of the Bible and you picked one up, you're going to see God's purpose come out in every story. The first 11 chapters of the Bible can be reduced into 4 words. Genesis 1 through 11 can be reduced to 4 words. Creation, fall, flood, nations. That's the first 11 chapters in 4 words. Creation, fall, flood, nations. And in Genesis chapter 11, God tells us how the nations evolved. How they came to be, because God had told the peoples, fill the earth, fill the earth, fill the earth, but they don't want to. They want to make a name for themselves. Listen as we read Genesis chapter 11, and you see the nations emerge. Now the whole earth had one language and a common speech. No matter where you went, people spoke one language, English. And as men moved eastward, they found a plain in Shinar. They settled there. They said, come, let us build for ourselves a city that reaches to the heavens. They want to make a name for themselves. And so what happens? God comes down and confuses them, judges them, strikes their tongues, and scatters them from one language to 70 languages. 70 languages emerge. Come, let us go down and confuse their language so they don't understand each other. So the Lord scattered them. We go from 70 to today, there's 6,913 languages. That's how many there are. Think about that. We've grown. Now, if you had no knowledge of the Bible and you get to Genesis 11, you're going to have, well, what's going to happen? How is he going to reach these 70 nations? What's he going to do? You know how hard it is to reach 70 languages? What's God's plan? Well, here's God's plan. He's going to pick a man, and from that man, he's going to create a family. And from that family, he's going to create a nation. And he's going to make this nation great, and all nations are going to be blessed through this nation. He's going to pick a man, and from this man, he's going to create a family. From this family, he's going to create a nation. And from this nation, he's going to create a great nation to bless all nations. And all you got to do to figure out, well, who's the man? Who's the man? Well, turn the page to Genesis 12. The Lord said to Abram, leave your country, your people, your father's household, and go to a land I will show you. I will make you into a great nation. I will bless you. I'll make your name great. You will be a blessing. I will bless those who bless you. Whoever curse you, I will curse. But Abram, here it is. This is not about you. You are going to create a family, a nation, and this nation is going to be a blessing to all nations. From a man comes a family, comes a nation to bless all nations. And so, 4 more times in Genesis, God is going to remind Abraham, from a man comes a family, comes a nation to bless all nations. You're going to hear this 4 more times. Genesis 18:18. Abraham, you're going to become a great and mighty nation. All the nations that I scattered are going to be blessed through you. Genesis 22, the 3rd time you hear it in Genesis. In your offspring, all nations on earth will be blessed. And then he tells it to Abraham's son Isaac. Genesis 26, Isaac, I'll make your descendants as numerous as the stars in the sky and give them all these lands. I'm going to create a family that's going to be a nation, that's going to bless all nations. But guess what, Isaac? All nations are going to be blessed through you. Then he tells it to Isaac's son Jacob. Jacob, guess what? I'm going to create a family. Create a nation, bless all nations. Your descendants, Jacob, will be like the dust of the earth. They will spread out to the west, to the east, the north, the south. Why? All peoples on earth will be blessed. So there are 70 people known as the Israelites. There are 70 at the end of Genesis. They have favor with Pharaoh. They go into Egypt in Exodus chapter 1. Why do they go into Egypt? Because God has to grow them to a nation. They're only 70 people. So he takes them and hibernates them in Egypt for 400 years. Listen to what he says. He says this to the Pharaoh that was favorable. Joseph, your father and your brothers have come to you. The land of Egypt is before you. Settle your father and your brothers in the best of the land. And so these 70 people known as the Israelites hibernate in Egypt for 400 years. And after 400 years, they no longer number 70. They're 3 million. God has done it. He has, from a man, created a family, created a nation. There's 3 million. Now he's going to bring them out of Egypt to make them a great nation. Why? Because they have to represent him to all nations. Come on, it's time to come out. It's time to come out. This is what he says in Exodus to the unfavorable Pharaoh. Now, I have raised you up for this very purpose, Pharaoh, that I might show you my power, that my name might be proclaimed in all the earth. He is going to bring this nation out to represent him to all nations. What started as a man has become a family, has become a nation. Now they're a great nation. But guess what? Guess what? They don't know their identity. They think they're still slaves. No, no, no. You are a great nation. This is what he says in Exodus chapter 19. He says this. Then Moses went up to God, and the Lord called to him from the mountain. This is what you're to say to Israel. You have seen how I carried you on eagle's wings and brought you out of Egypt. Now, if you obey me fully and keep my covenant, out of all the nations, I have set my favor on you. And here's 3 things you need to know about you, Israel. You are my treasured possession, which means I move you where I want. You are my kingdom of priests, which means you represent me and bear my name wherever you go. And you are my holy nation. Well, this is pretty cool. This is pretty cool. There's only one problem. We don't know how to represent you. We don't know how to be a holy nation. We don't know anything about you, God. So he takes them to Mount Sinai and he shows them the law. How do you represent me well? Deuteronomy chapter 4, I have taught you these decrees and laws as the Lord my God commanded. Observe them carefully. This will show your understanding to the nations who you are representing me to. You are bearing my name to. Oh my goodness, this is unbelievable. From a man came a family, came a nation, came a great nation, brought us out of Egypt, gave us the law. We're holy, we're treasured, we're mediators. We represent you to the nations. This is unbelievable. We're missing something. What? We're missing something. What? We need a place. We need a place to represent you. That's called the land, the promised land. And so in Deuteronomy, God says, I've got this taken care of. So I'm going to give you the land between these two places, these two rivers. Deuteronomy 1, I have set the land before you. Take possession of it. Just like I swore to your fathers, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Oh my goodness. Now they have the law. They know how to represent him. They have the identity of a holy nation, a treasured possession, mediators. They are in the land, and God does something even greater. He drops his presence right in the middle, called the temple. The temple was where heaven and earth touched. It's where God dwelt with Israel. It was the place that if you wanted to know God anywhere in the world, you walked to that temple. It took 46 years to build, and Solomon dedicates the temple, and listen to what he says in Chronicles. As for the foreigner, the Hittite, the Ninevite, the Amalekites, Anakites, when they come from a distant land, listen to their prayers, Yahweh. When they come from a distant land and pray, hear from heaven and do whatever the foreigner asks of you, because this is why we exist as a nation. We are to bear your name and represent you. It's working. They are saying to the nations, come and see who Yahweh is. They are saying to the nations, come and see who God is. Come to our temple and pray. This Genesis 12 promise is working. It's working. The nations are coming. 1 Kings 10. King Solomon was greater in riches and wisdom than all the other kings of the earth. It's working. The whole world saw it's working. Are you kidding me? From a man came a family, came a nation, came a great nation. We got the law, we got the land, we got our identity, we got the temple. It's working. Are you kidding me? Now picture for a second, one Israelite saying to another Israelite, you know, I don't really have a heart to represent him among the nations. I don't think I want to do that. You know, I don't feel called to represent him among the nations. You know, my parents are really telling me that this isn't the right time. I need an internship. And I don't have a desire to represent him among the nations. I don't really feel like that's what I should be doing. The other Israelite would look at you and say, are you joking? Forget you, your calling, your burden, your heart. Who cares? This is your identity. Your identity is to bear his name. How you feel about it is a moot point. This is who you are. It's working. God gives us the Psalms, the hymns to sing when the nations come and see. When the nations come and see, he gives us the Psalms. Declare his glory among the nations, his marvelous deeds among the peoples. For great is the Lord and greatly to be praised, for all the gods are worthless. Hinduism, worthless. Islam, worthless. Confucianism, worthless. Buddhism, worthless. Taoism, worthless. I had to get a picture framed, so I went to Hobby Lobby, and I'm walking through the frames in the picture section to get to the framing place. It's in the back right corner, really out of the way. And as I'm walking through the picture area, I'm noticing a huge picture. And it had my favorite Old Testament verse on it. My favorite Old Testament verse, it had, "Be still and know that I am God, ... And I was like, I love that verse. I have a coffee cup with that verse on it. I have a journal with that verse on it. And I'm looking at this picture, and it's perfect. It's like Montana-esque. It's got a fisherman, a deer, a tackle box, sun rising, something with a fly. Okay, it's like all this stuff. And I took a picture of the picture, if you can even go there. I took a picture of the picture, and I texted to my wife, and my wife's like, "You got to get it." And I was like, "I know. Oh, I'm getting this." She's like, "This is perfect. Hang it." I'm like, "I know." Well, as I'm looking at the picture, I noticed something that I've never noticed before. It says, "Be still and know that I am God, ... And I'm like, man, there's a second half. There's a second half. It didn't make my coffee. It didn't make my journal. How bad is the second half of Psalm 46:10 that I've never seen it? What's it say? "Be still and know that I am God and don't eat bacon"? I mean, how bad is the second half? And so I got out my phone, went to my ESV app, opened up to Psalm 46:10, and here's what it said. "Be still and know that I am God. I will be exalted among the nations. I'll be exalted in the earth." That's the whole verse. But as a Westerner who wants the blessing of salvation, but nothing to do with the responsibility of taking it to the nations, why do I want the whole verse? I don't. I'm just going to cut off the part that has to do with the nations and missions, and I'm going to act like that's not even for me. And it's really crazy. You can look at my Bible in Psalms, and everything highlighted are actually verses and promises for me. The 175 times God mentions the nations, not one yellow highlight. I'm 175 to nothing. Like all 175 times of God mentioning his desire to see the nations come to him in Psalms. Who cares? I don't. I'm sorry. I've got a lot going on, okay? I got a truck, and I hunt, and I got a tag still, and I haven't used it. I don't have time, okay? Think about it. From a man came a family, came a nation, came a great nation, and it is working. It's working. We have the law. We have our identity. We have the land. We have the temple. We have the sacrifices. We have the feasts. We have the prophets. Oh my goodness, the nations are coming. It's working. It's working. It's beautiful. What could possibly go wrong? Here's how the Bible summarizes it. Ezekiel 36, "Wherever they went among the nations, they profaned my holy name. I had concern for my holy name, which the house of Israel profaned among the nations." Israel began to love the blessings more than the blesser. Israel got addicted to the blessings. Couldn't imagine life without it. Couldn't imagine having to give some of the blessings away on behalf of the nations. Couldn't imagine. And so the more blessed they got, the more disobedient they became. Man, can I tell you something? I'm gonna be vulnerable here for a second because I'm leaving at 1, okay? I'm gonna be vulnerable. I'm gonna share something with you. I don't tell people this. I'm gonna tell you. There are 4 words my heart loves. And I try to not say them out loud. I think them all the time. And the first word pops out even before I get out of bed. I grab my phone on the nightstand, I go into an app that's linked with my savings, and the first word I say is savings. And I look at my savings and I say, grow, little guy, grow. I look at my savings probably 5 times throughout the day. I don't know why. I think someone's gonna take it. I don't know. I heart my savings so much. And then I go downstairs and I make a cup of coffee, and my daughter comes up from the basement. My other daughter comes up from the basement. My son comes up from the basement. My other son comes up from the basement. My other son comes up from the basement. My other son comes downstairs. And I gather all of my kids around the coffee pot, and the second word comes out. Safety. Keep them safe. Let them work at Chick-fil-A inside. Not even drive-through. Then I go to work and my third word comes out, resume, make me more famous than all of my friends. Then my fourth word comes out at the end of the day, relax. Savings, safety, resume, relax. And I promise you, most Christ followers revolve their life around those 4 words. And then God invites us into his global, eternal, and unfulfilled purpose. And how do I respond? Well, Lord, I'm all in. Does it affect these 4 words? Absolutely it does. Okay, then I'm not called. I don't really have a heart to give up these 4 words. I don't have a heart for missions. I'm an introvert. I'm a 6. With a wing of a 5, and that's really not for me. I have 2 kids, they're girls. I think that's enough. I'm sure there's someone in our church that missions is just like they dress weird, they act weird, missions is just for them. You know, they should go to Guatemala. We would love it actually, like you should go. And that's the way we do it, right? Watch what happens. When you turn to the New Testament, Jesus, the Messiah, rose from the dead, conquered sin and death, and he instituted in Matthew 16, I will build my church, and the church of hell will not prevail. Where Israel fails, Jesus prevails. And now the church is his mechanism to reach the world. And instead of telling the nations, come and see, we go and tell. He flips the script. Instead of come and see, we go and tell. And then Jesus gives us 5 Great Commission texts. I used to think it was only 1 Great Commission text. He gives us 5. Now, the way we read them in Scripture, Matthew, Mark, Luke, John, and Acts, is not the way the disciples heard them. The way the disciples heard them is not in that order. Here's how the disciples heard the Great Commission text. The first one is in John 20:21, and it's the shortest of the Great Commission text because their disciples are freaking out. They just saw the risen Lord. And Jesus says, as the Father sent me, I am sending you. This is the first Great Commission text. Now, if this is all we had to go on as the church, okay, what is the mission of the church? Well, the missions of the church is we're sent ones. To where? He didn't tell us. What do we do when we get there? He didn't tell us. What's our goal? He didn't tell us. How far do we go? He didn't tell us. What do we say? He didn't tell us. We are just sent ones. So, send. But there's a Second Great Commission text, and it's going to add to the first Great Commission text. The second Great Commission text in chronological order is Luke 24. This is written, Christ will suffer and rise from the dead on the third day. That's what we call the gospel. That's what we're to go and tell. And then we're supposed to invite them to respond. Tell them they can have forgiveness of sins. Oh, okay, so now we know what we're to say. We're to say the gospel that Christ lived, died, and rose again. I'm sorry. Did he just say nations? Did he just say the nations? Lord, we thought we'd just stay in Jerusalem to Jews. No. It's going to all nations. That just made the Great Commission a lot harder. I know. Also, it made it way unsafer. I know. Also, it means we have to learn 3 languages. Yeah. Also, it means we have to learn cultures and languages. Yeah, you keep saying that. Also, we have to go farther. Yeah. Now we know what we're to say and where we are to go. And the third Great Commission text summarizes the first 2. Mark 16:15. Go, we knew that from John and Luke, to all creation and speak the gospel. Now, okay, Lord, we got it. We are to go and speak the gospel to the nations. I got another one for you. Is this going to make it harder? Yeah. Well, what's this one say? Matthew 28, all authority has been given to me, so you don't have an option. And I want you to go. We knew that in Luke and John. To the nations. We knew that from Luke and John. But don't just make converts. You have to stay for 5 years and make him a disciple. Wait, I'm sorry, Lord. What did you say? Yeah, you have to stay for 5 years. After you get him to come to Christ, then you have to stay and disciple him. Well, how do you make a disciple? Well, you teach them all I taught you, and you baptize them. This is gonna be impossible. This is gonna be impossible. You can't expect us to do this. Well, I got a 5th Great Commission text, and it has some good news. What could it possibly be? Well, Acts 1:8, you will receive power, because you're right, it is impossible. And then poetically, instead of saying nations, I'm going to say Jerusalem, Judea, Samaria, and to the ends of the earth. Just to throw you off. And you are my witnesses. Family, I do not want you to miss this moment. I do not want you to miss this moment. Because if you are a Christ follower in this room, your job, it doesn't matter how you feel about it. Sorry. It doesn't matter how called you feel about it. Sorry, it's your identity. You are to take all 5 of these Great Commission texts and summarize them into 1 or 2 sentences. And this is what you're going to have. This is your job. This is your job. It's the mission of the church. This is it. By the power of the Spirit, you are to go to every nation, and you are to make disciples, and you are to speak the gospel and gather them into churches. Now, it doesn't matter what your occupation is. It doesn't matter how many kids you have. It doesn't matter your Enneagram. If you're a believer, this is your DNA. This is it. I don't care what age or stage you are. Now, if you don't know how to do this, that's what the next section's going to be on, so stick around and grab some carrots. But the next session, we're going to talk about how to do this. If you're like, I don't know what that means. Well, fear not, little flock. I got you. And then watch what they do. Watch what the authors do. Do you remember how in Exodus, God said to Israel, you are my treasured possession, my kingdom of priests? Look at what Peter says to the church. You are a chosen people, a royal priesthood. You are the mediators. You are a people belonging to God. That means he moves you where he wants to. You are to declare his praises. For 1,000 years, The temple was where heaven and earth met in Israel. It was the holiest place. It was the place you went to meet God. And Paul, who is a devout Jew, says something so astonishing in 1 Corinthians. You. Why do I? You. Well, what do I? You. You are the place that people come to meet God. You are the place where heaven and earth touch. When you show up to Afghanistan, people can now know God for the first time because the dwelling of God has come to them through you. Salvation means obligation. That's your identity. And this is what Paul says in Romans 1. He says, I was saved to take the gospel to the nations. I received grace. Why? To give grace to all nations. Why, over and over again in the New Testament, are we reminded of who we are? Because there's a little bit of Israel in us all. In us all, we all have that tendency. Love those blessings, justify your inactivity. And because most Christ followers are justifying their activity, and most Christ followers are saying, I'm not called, I don't have a heart, I'm not skilled that way. Everybody else is like, well, yeah, I mean, neither am I. This is quite convenient. You're not called, I'm not called. This is awesome. You think there's anybody who's called? Oh yeah, we just don't know them. You think there's people who are yeah, we just don't know them. I was at Clyde Coffee today. No, yesterday. I was at Clyde Coffee. Ever been there? I Googled how many taxi drivers in Las Vegas. 15,500. I Googled how many missionaries in the unreached world. 14,500. There's more taxi drivers in Vegas than missionaries in the 1040 window. Because everybody is saying the same thing. Not me. No way. But God's promise, Genesis 1 through 11, the introduction, creation, fall, flood, nations. Genesis 12, all the way to Jude, is the story unfolding. We now, by the power of the Holy Spirit, go declaring the gospel to all nations and bringing them together in churches, to all nations. And the conclusion is Revelation 5:9. It works. It works. You are worthy to take the scroll and open its seals, because you were slain, and with your blood you purchased men for God from every tribe, tongue, nation, and people. Think about it. From a family came a nation, came a great nation, turned self-focused and inward. No thanks, Lord, I don't want my identity. I'm going to create the church. And unfortunately, there's a little bit of Israel in us all. You would think 5 kids would be enough. That's $92 at Chick-fil-A. $92 without shakes. And my wife, she's like, hey, I have an idea. We should adopt. And I was like, Jess, we have a basketball team. And she's like, every basketball team needs a sub. And so I was like, okay. I mean, you can't argue with that, right? So we decide we're going to adopt. We get matched with a little boy from China. And just before we leave to go to China, we decided to take a vacation because we knew when we brought him home, it was going to be some chaos. So where does a homeschool family of 5 in Arkansas go to vacation? Well, we went to the Ark. They found it. It's in Kentucky. They were way off looking in Sinai. It's in Kentucky, it's in Kentucky, like off the highway, right there the whole time. We go to the Ark, we walk up to it 2 by 2. It was an incredible experience. And we stayed at a hotel near the Ark. And my wife was upstairs with the kids. I was downstairs drinking coffee. And this lady, the waitress, she's like, so what brings you to Kentucky? And I was like, the Ark. They found. She's like, I know. And she's like, where do you go to next? I was like, actually, we go to China. She's like, no way. What are you going to China for? I said, oh, we're adopting a little boy. And as she's refilling my coffee, she does something that startled me. She asked me a question that I'd never thought of. She asked me a question. I had to have her repeat the question. I did not understand the question. I have never been asked this question. And as she's refilling my coffee, she looks at me and she asks me this question. Does he know you're coming for him? I said, excuse me, ma'am? She says, this boy in Asia, does he know you're coming for him? I said, ma'am, he has no idea. He has no idea we've spent $45,000, 15 months of background checks, FBI checks. He has no idea he has 5 siblings desperately ready to love him. He has no idea that he has a college fund already in his name. He has no clue that in 21 days he's going to be stamped a citizen of this great and magnificent country and be afforded every right and privilege this country allows. He has no idea he has a father. But I'm coming for him. I'm coming for him. We talk about the second coming of Christ. It's very important to know half the world has not heard of the first. And when we leverage our lives to live for God's purpose, we're saying to the unreached, we're coming for you. Thank you.